The roar of engines pierces the sky. It's a sound that sends chills down the spines of the Taiwanese people. Chinese bombers, symbols of military might, have become an increasingly common sight near Taiwan. These flights are not mere training exercises. They are a constant and very real threat, a reminder of China's ambition to claim Taiwan as its own. Taiwan, an island nation of 23 million people, lives under the shadow of this potential conflict. The Chinese Communist Party, which rules mainland China, sees Taiwan as a breakaway province. They have vowed to reunify Taiwan with the mainland, by force if necessary. The threat to Taiwan is not just theoretical. China has been steadily increasing its military presence in the region. Their navy conducts frequent exercises in the waters around Taiwan. Chinese warplanes regularly intrude into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. This aggressive posture has put the Taiwanese people on edge. They know that any miscalculation, any accident could spiral into a full-blown war. Taiwan's military is on high alert, constantly monitoring the movements of Chinese warships. Of particular concern are China's aircraft carriers, potent symbols of naval power projection. These carriers, capable of launching fighter jets and attack helicopters, represent a significant escalation in China's ability to threaten Taiwan. Recently, there have been reports of increased activity by Chinese carriers in the Western Pacific. Intelligence sources suggest that China may be planning to conduct large-scale war games in the near future. These exercises, if they materialize, would be seen as a clear provocation by Taiwan and its allies. Taiwan's defense forces are closely tracking these developments. They are preparing for a range of scenarios, from limited incursions to a full-scale invasion. Taiwanese troops are conducting drills, testing their defenses, and readying themselves for the possibility of conflict. Tensions in the Taiwan Strait reached a boiling point in July 2023. In response to a visit by a high-ranking U.S. official to Taiwan, China launched a series of massive military exercises. These exercises were unprecedented in their scale and aggression. Chinese warships and aircraft simulated a blockade of Taiwan, cutting off the island nation from the outside world. Missiles were fired into the waters near Taiwan, a stark reminder of China's willingness to use force. The exercises were a clear message to Taiwan and its allies. China is prepared to use military might to achieve its goals. The July 2023 exercises sent shockwaves through the region and beyond. They were a wake-up call, a stark demonstration of how quickly the situation in the Taiwan Strait could escalate into a major conflict. Adding to the tension is the increasing presence of large Chinese bombers near Taiwan. These bombers, capable of carrying long-range missiles, significantly increase the risk of a miscalculation or accident, leading to open conflict. The bombers serve multiple purposes for China. They are a visible reminder of China's military might, intended to intimidate Taiwan. They also provide China with a potent strike capability, able to target key Taiwanese infrastructure and military installations. However, the presence of these bombers is a dangerous game. Their proximity to Taiwanese airspace increases the risk of an accidental encounter or misidentification, which could quickly escalate into a military confrontation. Section 5: Global Shockwaves, the Economic and Political Fallout. A war between China and Taiwan would be a global catastrophe. The economic and political consequences would be felt far beyond the shores of East Asia. Taiwan is a major player in the global economy. It is a leading producer of semiconductors, essential components for everything from smartphones to cars to advanced weaponry. A conflict in Taiwan would disrupt these supply chains, causing chaos in global markets. Politically, a war in the Taiwan Strait would pit China against the United States and its allies. The U.S. has a long-standing commitment to supporting Taiwan's defense. While the U.S. has not explicitly stated that it would intervene militarily in the event of a Chinese invasion, it has made it clear that it would consider such an attack a serious threat to its interests. A war between the U.S. and China, the world's two largest economies and military powers, would be a disaster of unimaginable proportions. Section 6. A century of tension, the historical roots of the conflict. The roots of the Taiwan issue run deep, stretching back over a century. Following the Chinese Civil War in 1949, the defeated nationalist government fled to Taiwan, establishing a separate government there. Mainland China, under the control of the Chinese Communist Party, has always claimed sovereignty over Taiwan. viewing it as a renegade province. For decades, the two sides existed in a state of uneasy truce. However, in recent years, tensions have escalated dramatically. China's growing economic and military might has emboldened its leaders. They have become increasingly assertive in their claims over Taiwan, raising fears of an imminent conflict. Section 7. The world is watching. International response and concerns. The escalating tensions in the Taiwan Strait have not gone unnoticed by the international community. Countries around the world are watching the situation with growing concern. The United States, Japan, Australia, and other countries have expressed their opposition to any unilateral attempts to change the status quo in the Taiwan Strait. They have urged China to exercise restraint and to resolve its differences with Taiwan through peaceful means. International organizations, such as the United Nations, have also called for dialogue and diplomacy to de-escalate the situation. The world is watching and hoping that cooler heads will prevail. Section 8. The path of dialogue, averting disaster through diplomacy. In the face of this escalating crisis, the only responsible path forward is through dialogue and diplomacy. War is not inevitable. There is still time to find a peaceful resolution to the Taiwan issue. China and Taiwan must engage in direct talks without preconditions. They must be willing to listen to each other's concerns and to seek common ground. The international community can play a constructive role by facilitating dialogue, building trust, and encouraging peaceful solutions. Section 9. Calm before the storm, Taiwan's delicate balancing act. Caught in the crosshairs of this geopolitical struggle, Taiwan faces a delicate balancing act. They must prepare for the very real threat of Chinese aggression, while also striving to avoid actions that could provoke a conflict. Taiwan is strengthening its defenses, modernizing its military, and deepening its ties with like-minded countries. At the same time, they are reaching out to China, seeking to reduce tensions and find a modus vivendi. It is a precarious situation, one that requires wisdom, courage, and a steadfast commitment to peace. The world is watching and hoping that Taiwan will be able to navigate this challenging path and emerge from the storm unscathed.